If you're in a sexual relationship, are you getting good enough sex? Enjoyable sex? Satisfying sex even? If it's not, if the sex you're getting isn't quite good enough, I'm going to give you some tips for that. And props to you for watching this video already, because good enough sex just doesn't sound as interesting or as clickable as awesome sex, mind-blowing sex, sex all night with multiple full-body squirting orgasms. Such things happen on occasion, maybe, but you know and I know the reality of sexual relationships, especially longer-term ones. For most couples, around 15% of their sexual interactions fall into the great sex category. And as for the other 85% of their sex life, it's more of a mixed bag, shall we say. And that's a positive, because sex can't be amazing every time. We are not living in porn, but sex can be good enough pretty much every time. So yeah, props to you for keeping it real. Good enough sex is integrated into you and your partner's day-to-day life. That doesn't mean sex every day, although it might do, but there is affection, intimacy, and it passes between you. So there's a connection there, a spark that can lead to sex sometimes, or it can just be there. Good enough sex probably isn't coming together that happens once in a blue moon, like a sudden show of affection, with both partners disconnected for the rest of the time. When the connection is really intermittent, trying to read your partner's mind, is tonight the night? Should I be making a move? That's stressful, and then it heaps a lot of expectation on whether sex happens or not. So do your bit to be present with your partner and use your words. Which brings us to sexual pleasure, when things do come together. Now this can happen spontaneously, but more realistically, more often than not, it needs some communication and maybe even a bit of planning ahead. Couples tend to view scheduling sex even just the day before, like, how about we get it on tomorrow? They see that as some kind of black mark, because it shouldn't be necessary. Our relationship should just regularly spark into sex. But for most couples over the longer term, that's just not realistic. It doesn't work like that. So planning, talking, and looking forward to sex is actually more likely to bring about pleasure for you both. Now, the foundation of sexual pleasure is relaxation, both mentally and physically, feeling aroused and relaxed at the same time. And it doesn't matter what form sex then takes, talking, touch, foreplay, intercourse or not intercourse. Intercourse is great, but it's not as essential as we might think, especially if we've been watching porn. There are so many ways to share desires and have a satisfying, connected experience together. Eroticism is a big part of sexuality too, of course. Enjoying fantasies, ramping up the filth and the hotness and the thoughts and doing all the things. But again, this won't be the case for every sexual experience. It can't be, and that's absolutely fine. Sex, even scheduled sex, is always going to be unpredictable. So don't put yourself under pressure to come, or to come after a certain time, or for your partner to come, because at different times, sex is experienced as an erotic rush, or as pleasure, stress relief, maintenance even, or just playfulness. It can be all these different things. And sometimes sex is an intense, life-affirming experience. Be in the moment, communicate, and just enjoy how sex plays out. And here's possibly the most important element. When sex doesn't go to plan, this happens. Meet it constructively, share it, have a laugh about it. It's a bit disappointing, yeah, but you don't need to dive into apologies or weird silences. Stay connected. For typical couples, about 15% of the sex is not that good. Maybe sex gone wrong, and that's a fact. So if you can stop viewing sex as a pass or a fail experience, it makes a massive difference. And by responding in this way, you're less likely to set up anxiety or over-expectation for the next time. I didn't coin the term good enough sex. And that's credit to Barry McCarthy, who's a sex therapist and a professor of psychology. And he recognized that the three key elements of sex, intimacy, pleasure, and eroticism, and getting them in balance is good enough sex. And to wrap this up, a couple of real-world sex facts. On average, guys last during intercourse for 5.4 minutes. And that really can be good enough. 15% of sex might be awesome. 15% might be a bit crap. So the remaining 70% or so of sexual encounters will be somewhere between good and fine, even mediocre. And this all makes those amazing sexual encounters truly memorable. It makes them stand out because we can't have them all the time. And the less amazing sex is perfectly valid and it's worth having. Good enough sex is also easier, especially when you're a bit tired. So I hope this helps you and your partner aim for sex that's good enough. Thank you for watching.